Okay, so coming back. Now, I watch a lot of watch reviews, and I see people talk about entry level timepieces. And in the Swiss market, there's a lot of snobbery, watch snobbery. And I'll see some video of a guy talking about a Patek Philippe, which is a 30,000 entry level Patek Philippe at $25,000 to $30,000. Talking about it's like, oh, this is your entry level into Patek Philippe. Fair enough, man. But some of these people have these enormous fucking egos, man. And I live in Los Angeles, all right? So, and I live in the entertainment capital. I've got right out my window here is Warner Brothers Studios, literally. And I grew up in the entertainment industry and I know a lot of people in the entertainment industry. I'm not here to talk about who I know or whatever, but I'm just saying, out here in Los Angeles, no one really gives a fuck about what kind of watch you wear. It's all about who you are. I mean, again, people drive cars out here, BMWs, Bentleys, and whatever, and they want to be seen in it. And there's a lot of that arrogance out here too. So I'm not saying that LA is just so chill and laid back, but when it really comes to watches, people are more obsessed with their vehicles, things like that, how much money they have, and it's not so much about the watches. No one really is ever going to disrespect you because you're wearing a Casio G-Shock. There are plenty of people who have a ton of money who wear Casio G-Shocks. So I guess my point is what is an entry level watch? Well, so let's do this. And to me, entry level is this. It's maybe a company's starting point of their watch. This is their affordable way to get into the brand. I think entry level has just been thrown around way too much, because then you just have, a general. You'll see people that go, "This is an entry level Swiss watch." Okay, I'm wearing a Luminox that retails at about $450, and it's quartz. Is this an entry level Swiss watch? Well, it's a quartz watch, but I like Luminox. A lot of people wear Luminox. They're quartz. They're not automatic. I prefer automatic movements, but quartz keep better time. They're more reliable, but it doesn't make me less because I'm wearing a quartz watch, or it's still a Swiss-made watch. And even if it's not Swiss-made, it doesn't matter. What else? As far as Seiko is a Japanese obviously Seiko is a huge, Japanese company, watch company, one of the biggest. They have their Grand Seiko line, which goes up into thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you wear one, people, I'm only speaking for out here in Los Angeles, are just going to think you're wearing a Seiko, Is that an entry-level watch? No, it's their highest end, at a few $1,000s. But it's the lowest end on some watches. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is like this. Here is a Frederick Constant Slimline, automatic. It's on the watch winder, so I take it out of that thing. I've reviewed this watch. Is this an entry-level Swiss watch? No. You could be anybody and wear this watch. It just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Again, it's all about who you are as a person, not the kind of watch you wear. I think I just get, when I watch some of these videos, I sit there and I think, gosh, man, you're talking like, if you don't have a Patek Philippe or a Vacheron Constantin, a Blancpain, Panerai, Rolex, then, it's almost like this sort of derogatory, like, this is, I wear a Patek Philippe World Timer, which is $40,000, $45,000, but one day, if you can afford one of these, then you've got this big stature. No, man. There's a guy on YouTube, man, who's spent every penny he has on his watch, and he's got nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing, man. I don't know what he does for a living. I think it's nothing. I think he lives off the money from YouTube, you know, Rolex, another one. I haven't done a review on this one. This is Date Just. It's a few years old. It has the hidden buckle, which I like. You know, great watch. I never wear it. Two reasons. One, it's a 36 millimeter, so it's their standard, you know, it's still a man's watch, Jubilee bracelet, and it's just small. And two, it's just I don't need to be wearing a Rolex so people know that I'm wearing a Rolex, you know? I mean, that's not who I am. If I wear my Rolex, it's just because I want to wear it, not because I need to get approval from anyone else. So I'm not that insecure as a fucking person to say I'm wearing a Rolex. You know, it's like, so as far as cheaper watches, you know, I mean, here are two U-boats. Here's a U-boat. Retails at $2,250 and it's quartz. You know, never paid that much for it, but and then I have the U-boat flight deck. Oops, it's a badass watch. This is kind of more of a, I call it a douchebag watch actually, but I own it, so but it's only a douchebag watch if you act like a douchebag. Value 7750 movement. You know, it's beautiful watch. Again, is it an entry-level watch? Retails at $4,200. The last thing I saw online with this particular 143 millimeter watch, I saw it for $3,800. So, is it entry level as a Swiss watch? Some people go, well, it's $3,800 is an entry level because I'm wearing a $45,000 or $100,000 watch. Okay. So I kind of get a little bent when someone sits there and goes, oh, it's a great entry level watch, because it's really just all about what you like, you know? I mean, and price point, you know what I mean? Here's my Oris. You know, this is one of my favorite watches. Price point on this was around $2,000. I didn't pay $2,000. I think around $1,600. Limited piece. Is it entry level? Some people say so. Because of the price. I don't know how you justify entry level because of the price. I mean, it's based off of the brand. So if this was Oris's least expensive model, then I would say it's an entry level brand to Oris. But it's not, because you can buy Oris, you know, as low as $600 or $700, I think, depending on where you shop. Not this particular one, because this is more of their medium to higher end timepiece. As far as a three-hand goes. So it goes on. There's Movado. You know, I've got everything from Movado to Swatch watch. Now, this is a Swatch watch. I wore this for a long time. This was purchased, actually my buddy Doug bought this for me when I lived in Texas, you know? And I wore it for a long time, and I think it was probably, could have been $100, $150, maybe $75. I don't know. Watches aren't that expensive, but I don't know. Just because I wore this watch doesn't mean that you know, I don't have money, or well, I don't have money. I'm just saying it's like, you know, what justifies it? Because I know a lot of people that have a lot of money that don't wear expensive watches, and then there are people that don't have a lot of money and they spend all their money on a watch. So, you know, who's the smart one there, you know? So when you meet someone who's a watch snob who has the super high-end watch but can't afford to put $10 worth of gas in his gas tank, then, you know, or are you the guy wearing the Swatch watch that doesn't have a problem making their car payments or their rent, then, you know, something to think about, you know what I mean? With me, it's just been a process where, you know, I don't make as much as I used to. So I don't go out and frivolously spend money on watches, you know what I mean? There's certain watches I still want that I know essentially that I could buy, but I can't afford them. So I'm not going to go and buy them. Another thing with automatic watches is when you buy high caliber watches, it doesn't have to be high caliber, but automatic watches are higher maintenance. It's like a fine sports car. They need finer tuning, which costs money. You can buy the watch, but if you can't afford to maintain it, then you shouldn't have the watch. So, you know, I'm kind of rambling on, and I'm probably sure there's a lot more that I wanted to say, but you know, because I don't write anything down, and I don't really have any pinpoints of, you know, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation on what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to say that if you like watches, you know, and in a sense, you know, I know out here, again, I'm not in Miami Beach, Florida, where, you know, people are rolling around in Lamborghinis and wearing $100,000 Hublots when they're in their 20s. I mean, you know, again, I'm not there. I'm in LA, you know, and again, out here, you know, it's not about, I said it's not about what you have, because there's a lot of that greed and egotism out here. I mean, I'm just saying it's mostly focused on cars out here, you know. It's like, you know, if you have a Porsche or a Ferrari and you're one of those guys, you know, I don't know, you know, again, it's like, it's all about who you are as a person. I've said this on almost all of my videos, and not what type of watch you have. I love watches just because I love watches. Funny thing is I usually, during my day, when I want to see what time it is, I don't even look at my watch. I look at my phone, you know. So, you know, it's more of just a piece of jewelry or something I have on my wrist. And, you know, with this one, you know, when I'm at home, I look at what time it is on my watch. So I'm rambling. We've been going for about 13 minutes and change. So that's just some of them. You know what I mean? I have watches that are several $1,000s, and I have watches that are a couple $100. You know, if I choose to wear a watch that's $100, it's because I want to wear it that day. If I want to wear a $4,000 or a $6,000, $7,000 piece, I'll wear that. But I don't wear it to get attention or for anyone to stop and say, "Oh my God, what kind of watch is that?" Because that never happens anyway. Very occasionally, someone will ask me if, you know, what kind of watch I'm wearing, and I'll tell them, you know, and that's about it, you know. So enjoy your watches. Don't listen to people on the net that just sit there and say, "Well, this is an entry-level watch, and maybe one day you can afford it." You know, I think for the most part people mean the best, but some of them come across condescending as though it's an, you know, entry level. That word to me just, you know, kind of irritates me, because it's like, you know, again, it's just really not about entry level. You know, if I know someone who has millions of dollars and lives in a big house and wears a Casio G-Shock, what would you call that? You're wearing a Casio G-Shock and an entry-level watch. One day, you can afford to buy a Patek Philippe. Well, no. So, again, wear what you want. Wear what you love. Be a good person. Don't judge. Not just in anything. Life's beautiful, man. You know, any day you wake up and you have a chance to go through life, that's the most important thing. You know, and in